Watch movies, memorize band 9 answers, memorize phrases, memorize grammar, memorize. These are just some of the fake advice that is given by the IELTS gurus trying to convince you that these so-called techniques will actually work. Hello everybody, it's me, the hero teacher with 11 years of experience in teaching English and IELTS, as well as a CELTA Pass B degree from Cambridge. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to improve your speaking this year, completely alone, no teacher, no tutor, just you and the score that you want to achieve. Let's start with what's wrong with all that empty advice that is given over the internet. First of all, a language cannot be learned by memorizing, especially English. Second of all, memorizing is short-term memory, which means whatever you try to memorize today will not be easily remembered tomorrow or on the exam day. And most importantly, third of all, if you repeat a few phrases or sentences trying to understand what they mean, you will not fully comprehend what they mean and in which context they can be used. This means even though you remember the phrase that you memorized earlier, you will not naturally use it in a relevant context, and that will lead you to scoring lower than you expect. But there is a way that can help you save a ton of time and improve your speaking naturally and effectively. We're going to break down this solo way of training into 3 stages so that you understand how it needs to be done and fully apply it for yourself. Our first stage is language input. We all know that in order to develop, we have to observe. You have to be aware of novelty. It's the same in almost everything. For example, cooking. In order to be able to cook something new, you have to know that this food actually exists. Without knowing it, you will never be able to cook that meal or cook something new. The same principle is also applied in speaking. In order to improve your speaking, you have to be aware of sentences, sentence chunks, phrases, I don't know, like anything that can improve you. So you have to be aware of it. That's why you have to first listen to it. Therefore, listening to a podcast is a great way to start your language input. But why listening to podcasts but not watching movies? Because when you watch a movie or TV series, although you still practice your listening, you are actually trying to understand the situation by watching it. So your eyes try to figure the situation out rather than your ears. But for IELTS, for speaking naturally, we need our ears to give us those sentences, because we're not doing anything visual in IELTS. We have to understand the situation by our ears so that we can process it and then use it in our own language. Our eyes, unfortunately, won't do that because it is language. If it was, for example, volleyball, yes, then watching somebody actually spike the ball would help me understand how it works. But because language basically does not work this way, especially listening, so we have to listen to a podcast to try to understand the situation with our ears. For a reference, we are going to play this video, very short video, by the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson. Let's watch it.
There was a lot of stuff we didn't know, and I think almost certainly.
He used this particular sentence. There was a lot of stuff we didn't know. And this is going to be our example sentence, which we try to study and finally apply in our own speaking. Before we move on to this second stage, I would really appreciate a subscribe to the channel, as it motivates me beyond measure. And when I'm motivated, I shoot more content like this. Thank you very much for your time and effort. Now, as we already know which sentence type that we want to study for development of our speaking, we can now start stage 2. Stage 2 is about studying the sentence. In this stage, what we do is quite simple. We just have to understand what the sentence means and in which context we can use it. Let's try to understand this sentence. There was a lot of stuff we didn't know. Well, it's a quite simple sentence, isn't it? The only word that can confuse us or we may not be familiar with is stuff. And stuff usually refers to something or some things that we don't want to reveal or that we are not very sure about. So now that we know this meaning, the sentence meaning is clear for us. So we already know what this sentence means. However, it doesn't end here. Because even though I understand the meaning of the sentence, I need to be able to manipulate it in order to fully understand it. I am going to use this sentence or rewrite this sentence into different forms so that I understand the environment in which this sentence can be used naturally. So let's change the sentence into the following versions. First of all, there are a lot of things I don't know. Second, there was a lot of stuff she didn't know. Third, there was a lot of stuff he was not aware of. Four, there were many things I personally didn't know, so on and so forth. You can actually write 10 versions, 15 versions, however you want. The many, the better, obviously. As you can see, we didn't memorize the same sentence. We didn't just repeat it. We changed it into different versions so that we naturally understand how it can be used, where it can be used, and our brain somehow adjusts to it, gets used to it, which is brilliant because this is how your active speaking develops, new grammar structures, new vocabulary come to your active speaking. And after this stage, we are arriving at the actual practice stage because we choose a sentence we wanted to practice in stage 1. We understood the meaning of the particular sentence we studied. We manipulated it, so we changed it into different versions. And in the final stage, which is stage number 3, it's gonna be all about practicing. And here again, what we're gonna do is very simple. We're going to choose an IELTS question that we want to practice. For example, why did you choose this profession to study at your university? And immediately start applying our new sentence. For example, why did you choose this profession to study at university? Well, honestly speaking, there was a lot of stuff I didn't know about engineering. However, after my first year at university, things dramatically changed for the better. Look, that's the result we've been talking about since the beginning of this video. You used a sentence that a native speaker uses in his speech. This is how you develop. This is how things get better because it feels natural, doesn't it? There was a lot of stuff I didn't know about engineering. You didn't even think about it, right? Because you just practiced it, you manipulated it into different versions, and now it feels natural to you. It's so much better than just memorizing, because if you memorize it, you are not going to remember it, or it's not going to feel as natural. This is not only increasing your fluency, it's also helping you score higher in grammar and vocabulary, which is generally better. And in this year, as authenticity is highly regarded by the examiners, using phrases that you learn from native speakers and applying them naturally in your speech will get you a very, very high speaking score in the IELTS exam. And I hope you start applying this technique from even today, and let me know the results in the comments section. Thank you very much, and see you in my next videos. Bye-bye.